Chapter first, population, part 1. Geography studies human and their interaction with their environment. The study of population is a part of human geography under a branch called population geography. Population geography studies human population and distribution and pattern on the earth surface. Their qualitative and quantitative composition is also studied in this subject. The way population influence the economy and the development of region are also the point of study in geography. In this chapter, we will study human as a resource. Distribution of population. You can see the pie chart. Percentage of total land mass and population distribution. 29.20% land mass of Asia, 9.20% land mass of Antarctica, 20.40% land mass of Africa, 5.9% of land mass Australia, 6.8% land mass of Europe, 12.0% land mass is South America, 16.5 land mass of North America. The population distribution is 59% 65% of Asia, 16.96% of Africa, 0.55% of Australia, and 4.75% of Europe, 8.4% of South America, 9.69% of North America. Human population is unevenly distributed throughout the world in the year 2019. The world's population stands to be around 7.7 billion. Continent-wise population distribution is as follows. North and South America that account for around 28% of the landmass barely support 18% of the population. Asia occupies about 30% of the landmass and support around 60% of the population. Europe has around 7% land and support 5% of population. Australia has around 6% of world's land but does not even support 1% of the population. Africa occupies 20 to 40% land and supports 16.96% population of the world. Antarctica occupies around 9% of the landmass but has no permanent human settlement. This distribution of land and population can be better understood not just in terms of number living in a region but also in terms of people living in a unit area. This is called population density. Population density of a population is equal to total population upon total area in square kilometer. You can see the table 1.1 here. This shows rank, country, population in crores, approx area in lakh square kilometer, population density. China has a first rank, has population 142.8 and area is 96 lakh square kilometer. India has 135.3 crores and area is 32.9 lakh square kilometer. United States has 32.7 and 95.3. Indonesia has 26.8 and 19.1. Pakistan has 21.2 and 8.9. Brazil has 20.9 and 85.2. Nigeria has 19.6 crore population and land is 9.2 lakh square kilometer. Bangladesh has 16.1 crore population and land is 1.5 lakh square kilometer. Russia 14.6 and 171 lakh square kilometer area. Mexico has 12.6 crore population and 19.7 lakh square kilometer area. Pattern of population distribution in the world. Looking at the pie chart given in a figure 1.1 and table 1.1 together, we can conclude the following. We find that population and population densities both are unequally distributed in the world. When you look at the region with a large population, it is explicitly visible. Pattern of population distribution and density help us to understand the demographic characteristics of any area. The terms population distribution refers to the way people are spaced over the Earth's surface. When we compare distribution of the world's population and physical factors, we observe the following points. Snow-covered region around the north and south pole are sparsely populated. Even hot deserts have low population. The mountainous and hilly regions are also less populated. Coastal regions and plains are highly populated. In some river valley, like Amazon, population is sparsely distributed. It means that there are factors other than physical factors like forest that influence population distribution. Geographical factors affecting population distribution. Here are some physical and human factors affecting the distribution of population. Fill in suitable example of countries or a region in the table 1.3. Two examples have been solved for your convenience. Table 1.3 here, physical human factors, high density, low density, relief, that is landforms. In a high density, flat, lowland, example Ganges plain. Low density, mountainous areas like Himalayas. Other factors are climate, availability of resource, economic, social, government policies, and cultural. Following factors determine the population distribution. Physical factors. Relief landforms. Population is densely distributed on a flat plains and gentle slope. This is because such areas are favorable for production of crops. In these areas, it is easier to build road and develop industry. The mountainous and hilly areas tend to be less populated. If means of livelihood are available, population can be concentrated in a few such areas, for example, Dehradun, Leh, etc. Thus, it can be concluded that plateaus and mountainous areas are less populated than plains. Climate. Extreme climates such as very hot or cold desert or regions with very heavy rainfall are uncomfortable for human habitation. They have less population area with a equable climate where there is not such seasonal variation attract more people. Mediterranean regions were inhabited due to their pleasant climate. In cold climates, only people like the Eskimos and Lapps, who are highly adapted to such climates, can live in these regions. Vast equatorial areas of Amazon, lowland, and Congo basin are very sparsely populated due to their unfavorable climate. Availability of water. It is the most important factor for life for all living beings, including man. So people prefer to live in areas where fresh or potable water is easily available. You will find the easily through the map in figure 1.2. It is because of this that river valley and coastal areas are among the most densely populated areas of the world. For example, Nile Valley and coastal plains of India are one of the most densely populated areas of the world. In desert too, population is found near oases. For example, Faludi from Thar Desert and Al Alsa from Saudi Arabia have developed around oases. Soil. Fertile soil are important for agriculture and allied activities. Therefore, areas which have fertile loamy soil have more people living on them. As this can be support intensive agriculture, the flood plains of the river Mississippi, the Ganga, the Irrawaddy, and Yangtze are the example of areas having high densities of population. Similarly, areas having regular or black soil are also densely populated. The slope and the foothill of many volcanoes have high densities of population as their slope are covered with fertile volcanic soil. The slope and the foothill of volcanoes in Java, Japan, Sicily in Central America support many people. If a dormant volcano erupts someday, this settlement may face disaster. They may face economic losses and loss of life. For example, figure 1.3 shows people leaving their places after an eruption in Mount Agung in Bali. Human factors, agriculture, increase in agriculture production due to use of fertilizer and irrigation make it possible to support more population. Type of agriculture, crops grown, method of cultivation, and the specialization of particular crops are other characteristics of agriculture that affect the distribution of population. Do map have to related to figure 1.4. Mining areas with a good quality mineral deposit attract industries. Mining and industrial activities generate employment. So, skilled and semi skilled workers move to these areas and make them densely populated. Katanga copper belt in Zambia and the Chotanagpur plateau in India, coal and iron field of Western Europe, the Manchurian region of China, and the Appalachian mountains of USA are examples where population is dense due to availability of minerals. Some minerals are highly valuable and they are extracted despite odd physical conditions. In such areas, population may be dense. This is true for precious and rare minerals like gold and mineral oil. For example, gold mines area in the Australian desert, mineral oil in the desert region of Southwest Asian countries. Transportation. After studying the satellite image in figure 1.5, you may find that roads and highways may increase the population here. Such regions easy to assess. This is figure 1.5. It shows the area in 2005 and in 2019. Transportation. After studying the satellite image in figure 1.5, you may find that road or highways may increase the population here. Such regions are easy to access because of roads, thus increasing density. Or on the contrary, if accessibility is difficult, it takes more time, it costlier to reach there, then the region is sparsely populated. Figure 1.5 clearly shows that the population density has increased as a highway passes through this area. Sea transport leads to discovery of the new places. Port cities got developed. The population grew there due to trade. For example, the construction of Suez Canal increased the exchange of raw material and the goods. Therefore, the population appears to be concentrated in a coastal region. Western and eastern coastal regions of India. The western and eastern coastal regions of United States are examples. Urbanization. The growth of industries is responsible for the development of town and cities. Tertiary activities like transportation, trade, and other service also increase in order to cater to need of the growing urban population. Cities offer better employment opportunities, educational and medical facilities, better means of transport and communication in many areas of the world. A continuous urban belt is found. For example, Greater Mumbai. Political factor and government policies. Beside all this above, political factors and government policies. Beside all the above factors, the policies of various government also affect the population distribution and density. A government may choose to promote population in an area or develop or depopulate it. For example, the government promote human settlement in part of Siberia by giving more opportunities and special incentives. For example, in Japan, the government is giving incentives to people to leave Tokyo, as about one third of Japan lives in Tokyo. Besides these factors, other factors like distance from seacoast, accessibility, natural harbor, source of energy, navigable rivers or canals, cultural factors, migration, economic activities, technology, etc. affect distribution of population in the world. Adverse physical condition and lack of sufficient opportunities for means of livelihood are mainly responsible for discouraging inhabitation in certain areas. Components of population change. People of one region differ from other. People can be distinguished by their age, sex, and their place of residence. Some of the other distinguished attributes of the population are occupation, education, and the life expectancy. Let's us first understand the various aspects of population. Population growth. The population growth of a population growth or a population change refers to the change in number of inhabitation of a territory during a specific period of time. This change may be positive or a negative. It may be expressed either in terms of absolute number or in terms of percentage. Population change in an area is an important indicator of economic development. It can be an indicator of social upliftment. For example, poverty can be reduced if population reduced. There are three components of population change: birth, death, and migration. Crude birth rate (CBR) is the expressed as a number of live births in a year per thousands of population. For example, in 2019, there are 3,250 births in city with population of 2,23,000. Therefore, CBR is equal to 14.57. That is 3,250 upon 2,23,000 multiplied by 1,000 is equal to 14.57. So at the time, there was 14.57 live births for every 1,000 people in a city. Crude death rate. Death rate plays an active role in population change. Population growth occurs not only by increasing birth rate but also due to the increasing death rate. Like CDR is expressed in terms of numbers of death in a particular year per thousand of population in a particular region. Can you calculate the death rate in the above example? If the total number of deaths in a cities was 2,986 in the same year on the basis of birth rate given earlier and the death rate calculated by you, what change in population do you observe? Always remember, the crude birth rate or death rate is considered crude. This is because it ignores the age structure of the population. It does not take into account that age group in the population that is actually able to give birth. Similarly, actual birth or death rate takes into account of population structure of a country. Birth rate and death rate will not be same for all age group simultaneously. CBR is equal to total number of live births in a year upon total population in that year multiplied by 1,000. CDR is equal to total number of death in a year upon total population in that year multiplied by 1,000. Population growth is equal to present population minus earlier population. Population growth rate is equal to population growth upon earlier population multiplied by 100. Can you tell? Observe the table 1.4. Arrange the data in ascending order for birth rate and death rate respectively. So we're done. Birth rate is equal to 11.5. Death rate is equal to 9.1. India birth rate is 18.1 and crude rate uh, death rate is 7.2. Greece birth rate is 8.2, death rate is 11.6. China birth rate is 12.4, death rate is 7.91. USA birth rate is 11.8, death rate is 8.5. Niger birth rate is 46.5 and death rate is 8.5. Population growth and explosion. You know that birth rate and death rate determine the growth or decline in the population. Based on this notion, try to complete the table 1.5 where difference combination of birth rate and death rate are given. Discuss in the class and complete the table. One has been done for you as an example. Birth rate, death rate, effect of population growth. High, high, stable, low, increase. High, decrease, high, low, decrease, low, low, low. This is the stages, birth and death rate per 1,000 people. This is high stationary, early expanding, late expanding, low stationary, decline. Generally, a country experiences various stages in population growth. It never experiences the same rate of growth in or a decline. Along with the economic development, tendencies of birth rate and death rate are different. Hence, growth rate of population also varies. The theory of demographic transition is based on the population trend of country with the time. According to this theory, a country passes through different stages of population growth. It may take several years to pass through a stage. They are as follows. Stage 1, high stationary stage. Both rates and death rate are high during this phase, so population growth is stable. Birth rate are high because having lots of children is considered to be good idea. At this stage, the financial position of the country is not developed. It is dependent on agriculture or similar primary occupation. People engaged in secondary and tertiary activities like negligible. Educational opportunities are limited, fertility rate are high, families are big, science and technology are not developed, low sanitation, high occurrence of contagious disease, lack of medical facilities, and malnutrition are responsible for high death rate. At present, no country fall in this category. Stage 2, early expanding. Technological expansion of science occur and development starts. Therefore, medical and health care services start expanding. Efforts underway to control and combat disease. This leads to reduction in mortality, but the birth rate is constant. As a result, population grows rapidly, production in agriculture and industries increase, transportation network increases, efforts to control the population are launched. The development countries with high population are currently undergoing this phase. This stage is known as population explosion phase. As it has the highest growth rate as shown in figure 1.7, for example, countries like Congo, Bangladesh, Uganda, Niger, etc. are presently in this stage. Late expanding stage. The reduced death rate in a second stage is still decreasing in the stage 2. Birth rate are also decreasing now. This reduces the rate of population growth, but the population is still growing because birth rate are higher than death rate. As the progress of country is accelerating, the income of the people of the country is above the subsistence level. Their standard is living is elevated. Poverty is decreasing. Use of technology is seen to be expand. Secondary and tertiary activities expand. Education level of the population also increase. People now know the importance of family planning. Family size reduces. Countries that family size reduces. Countries that are moving towards the developed stage from developing are going through this stage. For example, China. Stage 4, low stationary stage. The birth rate in the third stage now lower further. The standard of living is very high. The economic condition of the country and the economic status of the citizens improve a lot. Secondary and tertiary occupations have higher share than primary. The death rate is also very low as the best medical facility are available. Epidemics like cholera, plague, etc. have been eliminated. People are health conscious. The birth rate is not less than the death rate, but is almost the same. Therefore, the population growth is minimal. For example, development countries like USA are going through this phase. Decline stage, the birth rate is very low, almost equal. The death rate, population growth is minimal, or in some countries could be negative. The population may be reduced because the higher mortality. In such countries, the number of children is very low and the elderly are very high. Standard of living is very high. The economic condition of the country and the citizens is very good. Tertiary activities contributes the most To the economy, high quality of education and medical facilities are available, healthy environment and pleasant life is preferred. Example Sweden, Finland. Look at the figure 1.7 and answer. If the crude birth rate is 7 and the crude death rate is 8, then which stage of the demographic transition is the country in? If a country has crude death rate 20 and the crude birth rate is 24, then which stage of demographic transition is? Look at the figure 1.7 and the answer. If the crude birth rate is 7 and the crude death rate is 8, then which stage of the demographic transition is the country in? If a country has crude death rate is 20 and the crude birth rate is 24, then which stage of demographic transition is the country in? Pe- always remember, population composition composition of population covers all the characteristics of population that can be measured. Always remember, population composition covers all the characteristics of a population that can be measured. For example, rural and urban residents, age, marital status, sex ratio, etc. are the basics of the which population can be classified to understand its characteristic. Population structure of population is the overall picture of or the idea we get by studying the composition of population. For example, age composition of a population tell us about the percentage of children young and age in the country. Your population structure will give us an idea about the dependence ratio and effect this composition will have. The population structure will give us an idea about the dependency ratio and the effect this composition will have on the economy of country. We will study about them in the next chapter.